all these complicated positions after e6 as well, considered to be part of this Najdorf English attack. And I remember that in 80s, I even boasted that no matter what is the white's reply at move 6, whether white plays bishop g5 or bishop e3 or bishop c4 or bishop e2, I would play undoubtedly e7, e6. So that's why I even could have written the move on my score sheet before seeing white's reply. Also, I played e6 after the 6 f4 as well. But now we move to this position. Bishop e3, e6. Later, white also turned to the plan with f2, f3, and this traditional build-up that we discussed already at the first chapter of English attack with bishop e3. But in the 70s, the great popularity suddenly was connected to the Hungarian attack, started with g4. It's a nice attacking chance. White is trying to switch to the Keres attack. And I remember that after looking at some of these brilliant games, Pereni games, I was so attracted that I decided to use it against Lev Polugayevsky in 1979 at the Soviet Spartakiads, the team championship. And after g4, Polugayevsky thought for a while, but decided against the most principle, e6, e5. He played knight c6, and after g5, knight d7, the game was transposed into the Keres attack. But of course, e5 is the best try to challenge White's very ambitious concept. So e5, knight f5, g6, and now g5. G takes f5, e takes f5. That's in fact the sacrifice of a whole piece, because White could play g takes f6. That's what Lubovich did against Polugayevsky. But after f4, they should try bishop c4, and the simplest for black is to take on e3, and after bishop takes f7, it ends up with perpetual. It's also nice perpetual. But of course, White wants more. E takes f5, and now black has to play d5 because otherwise White's position is dominant. Just look at position of the knight fd7, queen h5. It's a dominant position. It's attack, and that's one of the important things discovered by the Hungarians and Pereni in particular, that extra piece is not playing any role. So we can talk about reincarnation of old romantic chess of the 19th century, but on a much higher level, because it's not an immediate attack. It's just White just building up. And we'll see these problems that black is facing throughout the whole line, where White sacrificed the piece on f5, because there's so many pieces are still on board. The extra material is not as important. What is important is the mobility of the pieces. There are the whites are always able to move attack from one side to another side, and black has difficulty of placing pieces on normal positions. So black should also try something more energetic, and this is d5. Now, White also has to continue its development, because development is a key factor that gives White a good chance to play without a piece. Queen f3, and here black has a choice. So today the best move is d4, and we'll look at this move later on. But the first reaction was knight e4, and this move, in fact, was eventually criticized by the theory, and it has pretty lousy reputation. But as we can see, it's not as clear when you can start defending black's position at the computer's age. So knight e4, take on e4, queen takes e4, knight c6, bishop c4. And here is the the typical position for this variation. White has 2 pawns for a piece, but most important, it has an easy development. While black has problems with the king, and also problem with development of its own army, because bishop on c8, for instance, has not great future. I mean, it can go on d7, and also black has to find a way to evacuate its king from the center. In early games, black played bishop d7, and as we can see, it's most natural move, but it's losing almost by force. So also queen a5 check is not good. Also after bishop d2 in Pereni's game, black could get some defending chances, but simple c3 would put black in a big trouble. For instance, bishop d7, and black can castle, but white takes the third pawn and has quite a dominant position. It's not as good, but better than bishop d7. But the best move is queen d7. So it looks a little bit ugly, but at the same time, when you are dealing with such unconventional positions, you should look at the landscape, and you should not be shy of considering unorthodox options. So queen d7 attacks the pawn on f5. And this is very important because this pawn actually prevents black from normal development. And if white moves the pawn on f6, for instance, then black bishop can be developed. So and there's no such pressure on black's position as with this pawn on f5. In fact, this move was played against Maya Cheburdanidze in 1983, but it went literally unnoticed. Cheburdanidze played bishop d3, and then after bishop d6, obviously, white lost a great deal of its attacking chances. The most dangerous after queen d7 is g6. White continues the attack, but after h takes d6, f g6, and now queen g4, it is not clear whether white can get something serious out of its very powerful attacking position. For instance, bishop takes f7 check, because if queen takes g4, bishop g4, rook g1, f5 is quite strong. Bishop f7, king e7, then queen takes g4, bishop g4, rook g1, bishop f5. And you can analyze this position, but it seems to me that it will end up eventually with a draw. If white keeps queens aboard, queen d5, king f6, black king is in trouble, but contrary to many other lines. Look, the white king also has some problems of being in a safe spot, and black development now will be quite natural. So it will not be harmed by white's attacking actions. So let's go back to this game because it's a very illustrative game, showing the great idea of sacrificing the piece for this easy flow of development and a massive attack at such an early stage. Castle, queen c7, and here, unfortunately, Pereni moved a nice, brilliant combination. Bishop b6, queen b6, bishop takes f7, and queen d5, and the game would be over. Very nice. Yeah. Just look at this move, bishop b6. You will see this idea in some other lines as well. White is disturbing black's development and uses its massive power in the center and unprotected position of black's king. Rook he1 also looks good because white simply continues its development and dominates in the center. And you should probably look at this position. It's an extra piece, but now with 2 pawns and domination in the center, white is on top. The best for black was castle, but after bishop f7, we should prefer white's position anyhow. So Schneider wanted to make a castle, but after white's pawns are tripled if white takes on f6 after f7, f6, g takes f6, then black could castle and hope for the best. But when you are under such a pressure, you should not think too much about positional qualities. The only move was to escape. So the long castle could actually give black some defending chances, because after f6, white immediately put black in trouble by sacrificing exchange on d7. And I wouldn't even call this sacrifice, because after queen d7, g takes f6, we could see that rook was exchanged for the bishop. But since this exchange prevents black from castling, the long castle is impossible because of bishop e6, and queen is lost. Then black king should stay in the center. But of course, after bishop d6, bishop e6, now bishop paralyzes black's king, which cannot go either way, nor king side nor queen side. And queen c7, f7, king d8, rook d1, and it's a massacre. Rook c8, and here white tried a nice move, but there are many other winning options. Queen takes e5, and after knight takes e5, bishop g5, everything is lost. So queen e7, rook takes d6 check, and there's only white pieces left on the board. So black, of course, resigned.